Forward first. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, all across the globe, this is Kevin Vaughn on Power Connections with my wonderful guest today, ladies and gentlemen, Carin Isabel Knoop, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director for Harvard Business School Case Research Group. One of the greatest leaders on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. Carin, how you doing today, man? Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm doing well. I can already tell that I need to take a media training from somebody like you. So
Oh, well, thank you so
yeah,
much.
nice to be here with you, Kevin. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And we're
And
going to
I'm not one of the greatest leaders. I'm just one little grain of sand.
Amen. I love it. Yeah, we're all working together, aren't we?
Yes.
Well, first of all, how's your family? Everybody doing well? How you doing up there in Boston, I believe? How's everything up there?
Thank you for asking. It's really kind of you, and I think this is a question that we don't ask
Yeah,
enough of each other, and then take the time to actually listen to the answer. We're hanging in there. I think like a lot of people everywhere, and grateful for what I have.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Karen and I, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about how we treat each other around the globe, not just in the United States, but around the world, that we should just have kindness, just be kind. Say something. Matter of fact, it's better to say nothing if you're going to not say something positive to encourage people or thank people today. And just be, even if you just give them a fist bump, that would be okay,
Yeah.
or something, or an elbow bump, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But whatever it takes. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Vaughn here with you with Carin Isabel Knoop. We're going to be talking about mental health areas, some resolved today. I want to let Karen do her thing as well, but I want to read her resume, guys, or bio, excuse me, to say as well. You can see over here, she's pretty, pretty on the network. So she's qualified to be here today. So we thank you so much again for being with us. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Carin Isabel, I love the Isabel. I love that. Isabel. Carin Isabel Knoop is the executive director of the Harvard School Business Case Research and Writing Group, ladies and gentlemen. She's written cases of managers and leaders all over the world across the functions and industries for decades. I love it. So she is qualified, ladies and gentlemen. Carin is a co-author of a book, Compassionate Management of Mental Health in the Modern Workplace. That's what we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, with Dean John Quelch, Herbert Business School, University of Miami. Her articles have been published in Africa, Europe, ladies and gentlemen, and the US and Latin America. Wow, what a great time. She champions diversity of thought, adaptability, the human sustainability at the work while working closely with public and private organizations, student groups, and employee benefit organizations to promote mental health by all and for all, ladies and gentlemen. She also has a graduate degree from the University of Texas and has an MBA from the Harvard Business School of Harvard's Business School, HBS, ladies and gentlemen. Carin's on LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen. You can check her out. Carin Isabel Knoop on LinkedIn. Carin's lists also Harvard Business School case studies. She also has books, How to Compassionate Management, a book, The Compassionate Management of Mental Health in the Modern Workplace. And I want you guys to check her out on LinkedIn first and go from there because you can get to her websites and others areas as well. But without further ado, Carin, thank you so much for being on Power Connections with Kevin Vaughn as we talk about mental health. Thank you so much again for being with us.
Of course, my pleasure, Kevin. Thank you for connecting and for giving humans a chance to talk to each other.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, Carin, let's get right into it. Our topic, guys, is going to be original ideas about improving mental health at work and in the business area. So, Corinne, I want to first ask people, or excuse me, ask you, what is mental health in general, as well? What is it? What is mental health issues right now going on?
So actually, my very first advice on, in every conversation that I have on this topic is
Yeah.
to ask the question that you're asking, which is what is the definition that we're using? Because in a lot of areas, we're starting to use terms that are
Mhm.
completely divorced from their definition. So unfortunately, the working definition of mental health by the World Health Organization is old. I think it's from 2006 or
Mhm.
2004 even, which is before smartphones.
Yes.
So if we just park that thought for a moment and see how much our world has changed, with
Yeah.
this sort of hyper connectivity and this ambient stress that we now carry in our pockets,
Yes.
the definition of mental health is the ability to deal with normal stressors of life So the ability to deal with normal stressors of life
Almost.
in a way that enables you to lead the life you want. So I'm paraphrasing, but it is,
Right.
contribute to the community, be able to do what you want in life. It is not being happy every day. It is
Right.
not being sad every day. It is just your ability to deal with normal stressors.
Yes.
So if you
Fantastic.
think of what COVID is, it's in no way normal. So we have basically all been exposed to the absolute, greatest shock,
Yeah.
and no one was really, really prepared. So the fact that you now see so many articles around, how many of us are struggling just to deal with, daily life. I
Yeah.
mean, it's normal. If we weren't, I would be a little bit worried about our humanity.
Yeah.
What I think is happening now, however, is that there's a significant misuse of terms. So, when I read, 75% of American workers are burnt out,
Right.
burnout is a state of emotional and physical exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
So not 75% of us are. We may be exhibiting the first and second step of burnout. There are basically 8 steps.
Yes.
But now the language around this topic has become so hyperbolic
Mm-hmm.
that it's really unhelpful, I think, for managers. And we've gone from, so when we first published the book in 2018, no one wanted to talk about mental health at work
Right.
because it was stigma, I'm a manager, I'm not a therapist.
Right.
And now everybody thinks that they're qualified to be
Right.
having conversations about people's health.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think somewhere in the middle is a healthy balance.
Yes. Yes. Powerful. Yeah, exactly. And that's been my observation over the years, being in the workplace for over 40 years, Carin. We've recognized certain things. We call it stress. We call it maybe not be able to handle the job. All those things were wrapped up. But I noticed that we didn't have earlier. We didn't have any way to handle it. You had to
Mhm.
deal with it. You literally had to deal with it, or get to a psychiatrist outside the system, outside
Right.
the workplace or business. Now, as you know, they got diversity council people. They got psychiatrists on plant on the site for you if you need it. They got all kind of ways now that you can at least let people know, hey, I need a little help about this. I don't know what's going on. I got all this going on.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to talk to somebody, Carin. So if you would, because of our time today, guys, hey, just for letting you guys know, we are with Carin Isabel Knoop, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of Harvard Business School Case Research Group. We're talking about mental health and some of the solutions today and some of the things that Carin would recommend how we handle. And that's what I want to get into, Carin, is how do we handle, or what should we do? We talk about going to outside sources, but guess what? My insurance doesn't handle it. I can't afford it. So what do I do? What is your suggestions on how to cope in today's world a little bit? Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think it takes a very different shape, whether you're a corporate employee or you're
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, where basically, you are your own HR department. It's a very different situation. You mentioned, some of the things that companies are doing, which is, encouraging people to, talk to others. You've seen a lot of mental health apps being sponsored by companies.
Yeah.
90% of them have no basis in research. Basically, we use them for a month and then it drops off. So
Right.
what I've seen is a lot of interventions are fairly downstream.
Mhm.
And I think that at this juncture, it would be good to reflect on a couple of things that we can do upstream as managers, which is, you don't want to be fixing the car once it's broken. I think we
Right.
want to sort of think about
Yeah.
what leads to stress. One thing that I don't see companies do enough of is think about the influence of sleep on mental health. So it's absolutely central. Good sleep is usually a predictor of the ability to deal with stress in a more productive way. And then often those of us who may have mental health disorders have difficulty sleeping because, these recurring thoughts wake you up in the night, or you have a hard time falling asleep. You might have a hard time getting asleep.
Yeah.
But you see very few companies sponsoring sleep tests. And they're expensive. It might require a night in a hospital. CPAP machines are quite expensive now; they're in back order. But I think when a company can think about, what is important, it is important that my employees understand how their brain works. So I'm helping my employees once their brain aches. But you see very little training in terms of what is actually the basis of brain science. What are your neurotransmitters? Basic, like, we have sex ed for kids. We don't have brain ed for kids. We don't have brain ed in schools either, or in corporations.
Right.
So, I get emails saying, please take vacation, please do your self-care seminar.
Right.
But basically, I don't have an instruction manual about how do I actually think of
Right.
managing myself. So I think that's the first one. The second is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And the third, I think, is the ability to really listen. So, we talked a little bit about the importance of being kind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're being kind to somebody, you're acknowledging their humanity.
Yes.
And I think if every day you can go into your workplace
Yeah.
thinking, what I really want is a supportive workplace. So what am I doing to contribute to this? So a little bit of what I'm seeing is, I don't want a toxic workplace. Mental health really matters to me. You see this in the Gen Zers. It's kind of their main way of finding a workplace.
Yeah.
But they're going to go in being snarky. They're going to go in being selfish. They're going to go in being, sort of entitled.
Yes. Yes.
And they're going to contribute to this emotional pollution that we're all inhaling at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the third thing is encouraging your employees to take responsibility for the workplace they want to create. Because it's easy to blame bosses for
Right.
creating toxic workplaces,
Right.
but so do employees. And I think there's a little bit too much at the moment
Mm-hmm.
of criticizing managers. And management has been really difficult in the pandemic
Right.
because basically they were, the buffer between all the outside forces and protecting their people. And when your manager, functions as an, emergency emotional responder with no training, it's extremely hard.
Yes, it is. Wow.
So, I ask myself, how can I support my manager? Because
Yeah.
if I support my manager and I'm more open, then she might be able to support others. So,
Yeah.
this notion of we're all in this together, but
Yeah.
how can we do more upstream and less repair downstream? I think is might be an approach that I would take if I ran a business.
Absolutely, Carin. I love it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Kevin Vaughn with Carin Isabel Knoop, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of the Harvard Business School Case Research Group. I love it. We're just with her for a little while longer here. But Carin, you're absolutely right. My observation also is that I'm responsible for my attitude, not my manager, not my supervisor or my boss. You can't blame everything on them, even your coworker. I got to take responsibility for my attitude, I think, more than anything else, and not blame everybody else because they're not doing what I think they should be doing.
Right,
You
right.
know?
And for sure, they are very toxic bosses. I mean, the reason I started to write about this is that the brother of a friend of mine, a high school friend of mine, took his life after a toxic
Wow.
layoff.
Wow.
And, I was writing all these cases about companies trying to save $2 here or there and started to research about the number of people who are
Right.
at work, they're present at work, but they're aching and distracted. And we're wasting so much human capital. And the good thing about, if there's any silver lining to COVID is that we're now having these conversations.
Right.
I think that we have to be sure to remember that mental health is total health.
Yes.
And so it is covered by the ADA. There are a whole host of legal responsibilities. And we mustn't think that we can diagnose each other. We still have to respect
Right.
the topic. And I
Right.
think now there's a little bit too much,
Absolutely.
sort of disrespect of
Yeah.
the fact that we are talking about health.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Carin, just because of time's sake today, we're going to have you back on in the future here when we can. But let's talk about some takeaways today because we want people to walk away with some positive stuff, in their communities and their environments and how to recognize or just identify or respect, probably is a better word, how to respect others. What do you want us to do today that would help us be better minded, if you will, have a better mindset toward each other today? What are your thoughts about that?
So I think the first one would be, don't make assumptions. I think there's a lot of assumption, which is like, oh, you're a single parent, you must be so stressed out.
Right.
Oh, you have a perfect life, then you must not be stressed out. So,
Right.
and I think if you make, so one is that. The second is you see this also in companies. They're making assumptions about the kind of benefits that I want to be having. Maybe a mental health app is not how I get through the day. Maybe it's massage. And so I've seen companies set aside like a wellness fund
Right.
and giving their employees the ability to create that. It may be having a dog walker. It may be having better childcare.
Yeah.
It may be providing, benefits for people who aren't parents, because in the pandemic, a lot of people focus on parents,
Yeah.
but it's been very difficult for single people. So do not assume that you know what your employees want. Either ask them or provide funds so that they can shop for what they want, and then they'll tell you what it is that they want. So maybe people want, pet insurance or whatever it may be.
Right.
So back to the beginning of our conversation around what is mental health is the ability to deal with normal stressors. You don't know what these stressors are for your people. and yet often we make these assumptions.
Yeah.
The second, I think, is also avoiding stereotyping, which is related
Yeah.
to the first one,
Yeah.
which is, you can be diagnosed as suffering from depression and be highly functioning at work. You might be obsessive compulsive and be an excellent contributor. You might be diagnosed as on the autism spectrum, but you might be excellent in certain roles. And so the third one is the role of management is to pair the individual
Yes.
to the task that is best suited for them and think about the time that they have to do it. So my third piece of advice to help mental health as work is just to focus on what it is to be a manager. And when you look at the research around what actually stresses people out at work, and this I think is Gallup resource, is a work environment that is tasks that are not suited to what they're able to do.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're back to one-on-one management, which is, think long and hard. Okay, I'm telling Kevin to do this.
Right.
Who is Kevin?
Right.
How does he handle stress? How does he respond to stress? How does he like to be motivated? How often should I praise him? If I praise him too much, will he get lazy?
Right.
What are his skills? Does he need other resources to perform this task?
Wow.
So I think what COVID has done is, we've been sleepwalking through management.
Yes.
But then suddenly everybody had to wake up and say, okay, I'm a manager. It is my job to sort of do that properly. And then I think my fourth big takeaway is don't think mitigation. Don't think, sort of
Yeah.
think upstream, which is, what is it that occurs to individuals that make it difficult for them to maintain emotional equilibrium.
Right.
And as we mentioned earlier, sleep is huge.
Yes, it is.
So letting people start a little later. I mean, I believe that one of the reasons people want to work at home is that it enables them to sleep another hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're seeing school districts changing the start dates for teenagers to a little longer because, we have been operating sort of in an environment of sleep deprivation. So I would accommodate that. And the fifth one would be if I had a company and I were really radical, I would do away with the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We're all going towards a 4-day work week.
Right.
But the weekend is also antiquated. And so there may be people who would much rather work on weekends so they can go to the movies on Wednesday and there's no one there.
Yeah.
And yet we still stick to all these semi-antiquated view of the workplace. So I think be creative would be my fifth,
Yes.
really rethink work. I mean, not just in, remote versus not remote.
Wow, that's powerful, Carin. Thank you so much. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kevin Vaughn with Carin Isabel Knoop, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of the Harvard Business School Case Research Group. So proud of and excited for her being here with us, is talking about the solutions to mental health and some of the challenges, of course, as well. Carin, last but not least, I wanted to ask you specifically, is there a hotline or something people can call just to get started on if they just don't know what to do, but just need to talk to somebody? Do they have a hotline, national hotline?
Oh, yeah. So actually a few years ago, so I just wanted, Kevin, to go back to the notion, you used the term solution to mental health. So I just want to pause on my reaction to that term.
Yeah.
Mental health is part of the human condition. I mean, it's been around since the beginning of time. There used to be a lot of, Hippocrates wrote about it. So the solution to mental health would be for us not to live. Mental health is part of humanity, and what we have to do for ourselves and each other is figure out how we lead lives that do not sort of cause distress. So I think there are approaches to helping ourselves and others. The term solution sort of had a reaction that I just wanted to address.
Thank you so much.
In terms of solutions, as in resources, there are so many. So anybody who would like to connect to me, I'm happy to sort of try to guide to some resources that I found interesting. There's been a lot of interesting podcasts. If you want to learn more about your brain, you can listen to Andrew Huberman, for example, who is a neuro-ophthalmologist out of Stanford, who does a lot of stuff. This is your brain. This is how neurotransmitters work. How do you think about trauma? We've all gone through trauma. How do you think about grief? So I'm happy to share some resources to anybody who wants to connect. And there also is a free suicide prevention hotline. I should not know the number by heart, but I don't. I'm sorry. I think it might be 888. But it was one of these rare acts of bipartisanships in Congress where they did pass it. There are a lot of resources out there. The one thing, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but the one thing that I think we know is that the earlier you reach out, to your manager, to your loved ones,
Yeah.
the better. And please don't let the veil of stigma hold you back.
Right.
One way to think of the stats is that we're truly not alone.
Right.
And you will find that if you can reach out to someone, you're giving them the gift of being able to
Yes.
share what's
Yeah.
going on with them also. So in some ways you might be helping somebody have
Absolutely.
a conversation.
Amen. I love it, Carin. I love it. I love it. Hey guys, we got to go. But one of the things, Carin, as you know, people just want to have peace. They want to
Yes.
have some sense of controlling their own life. I think that's what we're talking about really here. So thank you for
Yeah.
the correction about there's no solution to it. We want to know how to best handle it, I think.
And there's so
Well,
many, yeah.
yeah, so many different ways to do that. So thank you so much. You can tell, guys, I'm the rookie. I am the rookie here. So
We're all rookies and we're all learning together. We're all learning
yeah,
together and having conversations and understanding sort of
absolutely.
where people are coming from is totally it. And there are a lot of good tools out there in terms of gratitude seems to
Yeah.
make a big difference. Like we wake up in the morning and immediately it's like the 14 to-do list that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a moment in the morning and wake up and think of the 3 people you're grateful for, and it can be yourself.
Exactly.
Before you grab your phone. So there are these tools out there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'd be happy to share with anybody who's interested is we came up with they say it takes 21 days to start a new habit.
Mm-hmm.
And we devised 21 questions
Yeah.
and for you to think about stress at work, like what stresses you out? How
Right.
do you create stress in others?
Yeah.
And how can you reduce stress? So if you're interested, please find me on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and do the practice and see what happens. And it can be something like, observe something physical that stressed you out at work,
Right.
or were you mean to someone today and why?
Yes. That's
And so
wonderful.
these little things that take a few minutes, I
Yeah.
think really do make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely, Karen.
So
I agree with you 1,000%. And thank you so much for your time. I know you got to go.
my
So
pleasure. Yes, thank you for having me, Kevin. Thank you
absolutely.
for everybody for listening, and please reach out to me. You'd give
Ab-
me the presence of learning from you. So that would be
I'm gonna
awesome.
look forward to it. We are together on that. Be glad to help and
Yes.
support you, but can't wait to have you back. We'll talk about that in the future. Whatever you think you want to bring up, new things that come up through your profession there, we want to hear about it so we can give some tools to people out there who are seeking this help. And based on, because it's all about the data today. I know that, Karen. It's all about the data.
Yes.
The data will tell you what's going on, but you
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
understand what to do with it. So we're so proud of you and excited for you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It was so nice to be with you. Thank
The
you.
same here. Take care. Have a great
Thank you.
day. All
Bye.
right. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that was Carin Isabel Knoop with us, ladies and gentlemen, Executive Director of the Harvard Business Case Research Group. So proud of her to be with us today. Hey, we got to go. Y'all take care of yourselves. I want you to always have a great day, folks. Have a great day.
Yes.
Be powerful. Know who you are. If you don't call us, I'll tell you who you are.
You guys are great. Take care of yourselves and others.
Exactly.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Exactly.
Nice
Bye-bye.
to see you. Ciao, Kevin.
All right. Take care. Hey, guys, that was great. Hey, I want to leave you with this today. As Dr. Larry Carnes, one of my mentors, says, it's always out love, out serve, and out forgive each other, ladies and gentlemen. And know how powerful you are, guys. I'm powerful. You're powerful. And it's all about this. It's all about knowing who you are. You are so awesome. You are so amazing. And guess what? There's nothing you can't do. But we also got to recognize people who are having a little challenge. Not everybody can handle stress. Not everybody can handle anxiety. Not everybody can do what we do sometimes, right? So we got to be able to recognize, have people slow down just a little bit, slow down and just think about how awesome they are. They may have to take themselves on a vacation or a bicycle ride, go to the lake, see some water, go to the ocean, take a cruise, take a train ride, take a plane ride, whatever you got to do to get yourself at a peace level, at a level that you're enjoying yourself. You may have to slow down a little bit. We know there's a lot going on, but you must take care of your mental health. And how do you do that? You just enjoy your life and also know who you are. We should be managing our own lives differently. But guess what? We do need a little help. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying, I'm working on me each and every day. So it's been a great time. So yeah, we've been having a great time with Sister Carin Isabel Knoop today. Can't wait to have her back on. But thank you so much, guys, for being with us today. This is Power Connections with Kevin Vaughn. We bring in powerful people like you guys. You got some professional folks out there. Love to have you come on. Give me a holler. We can talk about every topic pretty much from A to Z on this network here. But today we're talking about mental health. We're talking about the solutions. The bottom line is just be kind to each other, ladies and gentlemen, and always help take care of each other. Okay, we're all related. There's only one planet. I think we're up to 7 billion now on the planet. And we got to learn as we go across the lands, we got to learn to take care of each other a little better. Hey, this is Kevin Vaughn signing off. Got to go, guys. Take care of yourself. Have an awesome rest of the day. Have a great weekend. It's Friday today, but you guys have a great weekend. And we'll look forward to having you back on and listening and commenting. Hey, y'all send some comments in on this one too as well. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, mental health is real. Mental illness is real. And we got to be able to recognize and take care of each other better. Okay, y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you a little later on. Okay, bye-bye.